Hi, and welcome to Inside View. I'm Jim Bailey, and our guest today is our sheriff, Vic DeBasillio.
How you doing, Jim?
I'm good, Vic. How are you?
I'm good now that we can talk again.
Now that we can talk again. Yes, we were talking earlier, and just kind of discussing the county and how it's, in a rural county, how much different it is than being in a big city.
Yeah. Well, I came out of Saratoga. I moved up here in 1978.
There you go.
Been here for quite a while. I've seen a lot of changes. Logging industry went away. They took our railroad tracks out of the Valley Springs area.
That is a long time ago, man.
Yeah, things have changed. And we still have more changes to come, I believe, in the long run. But I've been the sheriff now for 2 years, been with the sheriff's office for 15. Mm-hmm. It's the only department I've ever worked for. The benefit I have of being the sheriff is that I work with the other 57 sheriffs in the state. Mm-hmm. So I get a lot of insight and a lot of information from all of them, and obviously throughout the whole state. We have some very big counties, San Diego, LA, and then we have smaller counties like Sierra, and Mono County, and some of these smaller counties. So I get a very good perspective from all of the sheriffs on what they're doing, what works for them, and what doesn't work for them. So it gives me a lot of insight on what will help our county move forward in progression. And we have some movement to do.
Well, there is going to be some big changes coming up, of course.
Yeah, well, we have a big election coming up in June. Got 2 supervisors up. My position is up. The auditor, the district attorney, the treasurer, tax collector, elections. I mean, there's a lot of positions up right now, along with a lot of bills that are out there. Yep. So there's a lot of things going on for the community as a whole.
And some definitive changes in state laws from last year.
Oh, absolutely.
Regarding a variety of topics. Which we'll get to that one later.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and there's others. You have the sanctuary.
That's what I want to talk about.
You have the sanctuary state bill, SB 54. Mm-hmm. That's a huge thing. There's another bill out there where the state of California is trying to make the state a sanctuary state for marijuana. Mm-hmm. That was a bill that got pushed. It got pushed back, and now they're trying to reinitiate that bill. So there are a lot of changes. SB 54 is it's a bill that deals with immigrants, illegal aliens in the communities, and we don't see a lot of that. Mm-hmm. We're not ICE agents. We don't work for immigration national services. We never have. None of the sheriffs. That was a big push that the sheriffs were talking with the governor about when they were trying to put this program into place, is that we don't act as ICE agents now. We never have, and we never will. However, we need to protect the rights of all citizens that come into our county and our country. That's our job as law enforcement. So if they're an illegal alien and they've committed a crime, well, then they get due process just like everybody else. So it's a hot topic right now.
In your meeting with the other sheriffs, and especially in the rural county genre, if you would, the smaller counties, are these funding issues? Are these personnel issues? I know you and I were talking earlier that it's hard to. They're coming up through the ranks, and then you train them and they work hard, and then they get this excellent opportunity for another 50% in pay, and they're going to leave.
You're talking employees in general. Yeah, that's
deputies, because you got to have boots on the street.
Well, yeah, deputies, and you still have correctional officers and everybody else in between. People are going to go where the money is. If they can make more money, they're going to go there. And when you're talking about like when I went to the board here a few weeks back. Mm-hmm. I read a letter from a great employee. I mean, I love the kid. Mm-hmm. He did a fantastic job for us no matter where we had him. But he couldn't afford to work here anymore. He started at let's call it $24 an hour. Okay. He was here for 4 years and made it up to $27 an hour. And he went down to Stockton and starts at $42 an hour. So for a young guy, you're talking a huge.
Again, that's a 50% pay raise.
Yeah.
Give or take a few pennies.
His lifestyle immediately changes. His retirement immediately changes. Their benefits his change, so he's actually making more money because their benefits are a little bit better than what we have. So overall, it's a huge asset for them to move on, and we can't say that we don't. I mean, we don't want the people to leave, obviously, but we're in a county that we don't have the funding available to us to afford to pay these guys those top dollars. We don't have the retail sales tax. We don't have the TOT tax. I'd like to see that changed to hotel tax. It sounds a little bit better. But there's certain things that we don't have. But what we do have, and I think what attracts a lot of people to come to the community, and for people that have grown up in this community, such as myself, and stay here, is just that, the community. You have, your kids can walk down the middle of the street in the middle of the night. You don't have to worry about them getting picked up and taken to wherever. We have the sports programs here in our schools. Our schools are doing really good. Financially, they're having some issues, funding issues too, because people are moving out of the county. The Butte Fire devastated this community, but on the backside of that, the county came together. And look what we were able to achieve even with the Butte Fire and what occurred. So it takes a certain person to want to live in this area. It really does. A lot of people like to have those amenities right next door. They can go to Walmart and Save Mart and, Payless and Got Jocks and all those big stores.
Wait, Got Jocks? You have
My wife goes there. My wife goes there. But the point is that those amenities are close. They're really not that far away. You can be there in 35, 40 minutes. But we have a lifestyle where we can go fishing, hunting, camping, four-wheeling, snow skiing. I mean, you can't live in a better community because where I live, I'm down in the Wallace-Burson area, and from my house, I can be to the ocean in an hour and a half, and I can be snow skiing in an hour and a half. So realistically, I could start out snow skiing in the morning and be in San Francisco having clam chowder in the afternoon. You can't find a better place to live. And the people are friendly in the community. It's just overall, it's been a great community. Our crime rate in this county is still by far one of the lowest.
It's low.
In the state of California. And I feel very, very hurt by what happened in Florida last week. Unfortunately, it's a reality that we have to deal with. We have an SRO right now, as you well know, and I'm working, we have 2 guys that we just hired that are in the training program, and we have 4 folks, because we have a young lady in there too, that are going to be graduating the academy in July, and they'll be hitting the streets right after that.
Excellent.
So I plan on putting another SRO to work the other side of the county. The one we have right now works the whole county.
Okay, let me just stop you. I know what SRO is.
School resource officer, I'm sorry. I get that because I was a school resource officer for so long. But we'll be able to put another deputy out there that puts another body on the streets, number one, and it puts another person in the schools so the kids get to know who their school resource officer is. The teachers and the principals, everybody gets to know who it is that they need to contact. And the presence. The presence is half the battle right there.
Right.
So we're moving forward as a county. We really are.
What if we call it TOT fee instead of TOT tax?
Hotel tax. Hotel fee. It doesn't matter.
I'm just teasing when I say fee, but I don't know why, because we've tried this, as you know.
I think it's all about sales.
It a few times, and the voters have rejected it. I don't know why, but they do.
They reject it because it's called transient occupancy tax, and a lot of people don't understand what that is. That's why I think
the word tax fools them, or you think it's transient occupancy? I don't know what fools them about this.
Well, I think it's the transient occupancy is part of it, and the other half is tax. Obviously, nobody likes to pay a tax.
Nobody likes tax.
But I think that a lot of it is the way it is promoted. If we promote it as a hotel tax, that is for people coming in to utilize our hotel systems and our B&Bs. It does not affect the people within the community. And they've talked about it at the board meetings. There are so many communities. My wife and my daughter are traveling all the time because my daughter plays traveling volleyball. And we pay that hotel tax everywhere we go. She was in Vegas last weekend, and it's 12%.
Yep.
And not only do they have the hotel tax, they don't call it transit occupancy tax, they call it hotel tax. They also have parking fees, and they have a hotel fee. So people pay that.
They do.
They will come in here and pay that hotel tax and not have a problem with it. It's not going to stop them from coming to our community, and it doesn't affect the locals. But it's all in how you promote it. For instance, do you remember back in 2016, it was 2014, it was Proposition 47. It was called Safe Schools and Neighborhoods Act. And now who wouldn't vote to have safe schools and neighborhoods? But what people didn't read was that it was going to allow inmates to get out early, and it reduced a lot of felony crimes to misdemeanors. Okay, it was all a sales pitch. The way that they promoted that safe schools and neighborhoods, people bought it. So same thing with the hotel tax. If you promote it correctly, it will pass, especially because it doesn't affect our community.
And when's our next election? June, right?
June 5th.
So sadly, I don't see any way of getting that on the June ballot.
I don't think they can, but they can most certainly get it on the November ballot because the primaries in June, and then you have the final election in November. So we'll see.
You paying attention out there? Are you paying attention out there? Please
vote November 5th.
Come up. Let's get some extra money for the county, because funding in a rural county is much more difficult than in a city. I mean, the city of Los Angeles.
Right. Well, you're back to the retail sales tax.
Money's coming in left, right, and center. We're in a smaller county, a more rural county, where we don't have giant. We have a casino.
Revenues.
The two adjoining counties, they have casinos. We don't get any of that money.
Right.
It doesn't come to us.
Well, and the other thing that you need to understand is that there are. Originally, the TOT tax was split up 3 ways. It was the sheriff's office,
Business Bureau,
the Business Bureau, and
I can't remember the third one.
I can't remember the third one, but they've added now the fire departments.
Okay.
And that's huge. Our fire departments are hurting big time. They don't receive any money from the county. They receive money from what grants they can pick up, what boot that they pass around.
Fill the boot.
Absolutely. And they're fundraisers. And each individual community supports their fire departments. The county needs to support our fire departments. They are the first responders. When there's a fire, those guys are the first ones to respond. They're right there alongside of us as sheriffs, making sure people getting out safe. We need to find something to help fund them. And this hotel tax is a great way to do that. It really is.
It would be a common sense way.
Yes, it would be.
But what'd you say? Okay, so you have 4 guys coming onto the force soon?
Yeah, I've got 4 more. Like I said, we just hired 2. They started on I want to say it was the first part of this month. They started 2 gentlemen that had already put themselves through the academy. And we picked them up,
Okay.
And again, these are kids that want to come and work in the rural area. They like the smaller community. That's their background. Nice guys, both of them, Tomas and Scott. Good guys.
We like nice.
We like nice, yeah. And then the 4 in the academy, one of them was one of our dispatchers, young lady who wants to be a police officer.
Oh, good for her.
So we put her through the academy. We have one of our correctional officers that transferred into the patrol side.
Sure.
And we picked up one of our retired lieutenants' kids that graduated right here at Calaveras High School.
Oh, excellent.
And then we picked up one other young man who is a local boy. So we're really focusing on the local kids because most of them want to stay in this community. We have a lot of local kids that work for this department. Heck, we got kids, I call them kids. They're kids to me. We have young men and women in our department that started out as explorers in this department and now are sergeants and doing very well.
That is excellent.
And they're here for the community. So it's been fun.
So 2 years, you've been sheriff 2 years.
Yeah.
What would you say in those 2 years were your major challenges?
Major challenges.
I'm going to put the recent thing. We'll talk.
Okay.
We're going to circle back.
Well, we will. And the major challenges were getting the marijuana program up and running. That was a big thing. Actually, Captain Macedo started that before I got appointed, and then I kind of took the ball and ran with it. I think I've done a pretty good job. I mean, the public seems to be happy. We did what the law told us to do, and that was to go after the illegal growers. That was probably the biggest challenge. The other challenge was the hiring and retaining the people. And I've started some programs. Well, you got to remember, I got hired in 2002. And the department back then actually did the same thing that we're doing now. They put me through the academy. They paid me to go to the academy.
Was that Dennis? Was Dennis the sheriff?
Dennis, yeah, okay. Dennis Dowland was the sheriff at the time. And that program went away because of funding and some other reasons. Well, I brought that program back. So now we are able to hire these guys, put them into the academy, and now we have fresh faces to show them how we like to see things done. Having a lateral, somebody who's already employed by another department come over, we've hired some of those too since I've been the sheriff. So we've incorporated that. We've offered some bonuses. We've offered some incentives that a lot of departments are now offering. So the ability to get more people to come to this department continues to rise. Since I've been the sheriff, I've hired 14 people. We have had 6 leave.
Sure.
2 of them retired.
Sure.
2 of them left for other reasons.
Sure.
And 2 left because of lack of money. And the 2 that left for other reasons, I don't know what their reasons were, but that's immaterial. So we're doing pretty good, and we're gaining on our numbers. When I get the 4 guys out of the academy, I have 1 more position to fill.
Okay.
And we actually have 3 or 4 people in background, so I'm confident that we'll be able to fill that position, and then I'll be full. I will not have any more allotted positions available to me. So if I need to, I would like to add more numbers because I want to get our patrol division back up to where it was back in 2004, 5, and 6, where we have more deputies on the street at one time. And the board has been diligent in helping me do that, along with the CAO. I think that the potential to bring more people on is there. And it makes the community safer. And again, we're back to that presence. Right. I mean, I remember my dad telling me as a kid, when you see a cop hiding behind the bush, he said, that cop's not doing really any good. He might write 1 or 2 tickets, but if he's parked out where everybody can see him, he's going to do a lot more good because people are going to notice him.
Right.
They're going to slow down. So if we have more officers patrolling the streets during those busy times, which is like 3 in the afternoon till 2 in the morning, you put 7, 8 guys on the street at one time, and it's going to detour crime.
Do we still have the substation?
Yeah,
substation program.
We have a substation in West Point.
Okay.
We have a substation in Valley Springs. We have a substation in Arnold. And we utilize the Mokelumne Hill Fire Department for a substation up there. Okay. So we pretty much have all the corners covered, and we have a substation down in Copperopolis.
I think it's good because also, again, people in those communities, they want to see the presence.
Oh, sure.
And then, it's under the heading of, if you see something looks funny, please let us know.
Absolutely.
So we can get out there and do something about it. Yeah. Don't wait. Don't let it go.
And don't let anything go. Here's what I tell people. If you know your neighbors are gone, right, and you hear a dog barking and you don't typically hear a dog barking, call us. Yeah. That's what you pay us to do. Go and investigate stuff because you never know why that dog's barking. No, it's just a random dog barking, then we find out and it's no big deal.
It could be my neighbor's dog who just barks.
And it very well could be. And it could be. But see, you know that your neighbor's dog barks.
Dog barks all the time.
That's right.
So I never work at it.
It's the ones that you hear something out of the ordinary.
Right.
That's when you want to call. That's what we do. That's our job.
You're here to help, protect, and serve. That's
exactly.
Why it says serve.
Protect and serve. That's right.
All right, here it comes.
Here we go.
Here it comes.
Go ahead, hit me.
The M word.
Marijuana.
So currently the board has adopted a ban.
Correct.
Just putting aside the emergency ordinance, and I want to say it takes place May.
It's actually
it's in there.
It's in place right now. It actually becomes we'll say everybody has to come into compliance. I believe it's June 10th is the drop dead date where you have to be in compliance, other than the 6 plants that Prop 64 allows.
Right. That's state
Personal,
law.
that's a state law, personal use, and or medicinal, whatever you want to call it. But it's
Whatever
6
you wanna
plants
call it,
per household, not per person.
No, I agree.
So, like we were talking offline, marijuana was illegal before the board made it legal. The sheriff's office is not going to stop doing what we're doing, which is going after the illegal growers.
Right.
The difference now is that come June 10th, it's all going to be illegal. So it's going to make it easier for us to locate it, because as we do our flyovers and whatnot, if you see more than 6 plants, we know that it's an illegal grow.
Right.
So it's pretty easy at that point.
How taxing is this going to be on the resources of the sheriff's department? Do you, in the beginning, or is there, I mean, just kind of, is there something in your mind where it's going to be more difficult in the beginning, get easier, or just a continued rollout of?
Well, I think it's time.
Keep visiting all the sites as we,
I think as time progresses,
A, B, C, D is.
Time progresses is going to get easier because there's going to be less of them.
Right. And some people are currently shutting down. They don't want to be there when it gets there.
Absolutely.
They're trying to get into compliance.
Well, you got to understand, the people that had started the registration process, in order for them to continue with the ability to have a state license, they have to comply with our laws.
Right.
So if they're out of compliance and they're growing beyond that June 10th date, a letter gets sent to the state of California that Joe's Greenery is now out of compliance. They won't be able to get that state license.
Right.
So I believe the folks that want to do the state licensing are going to move on, or at least come into compliance in our county. The illegal ones are always going to be the illegal ones.
Right.
They're not going to change what they're doing. So I think you're going to see a lot of people leave. Now, I've heard that there's talk that some of the marijuana growers have a coalition. They're putting it together, and they're going to try and put something on the ballot for November. And that's a possibility. And if it does, then the voters will have the opportunity to vote on it at that time, and we'll adjust what we're doing at that time on what's illegal and what's legal.
Right.
To answer your question, I've already talked to the CAO and I've talked to the board, and we're basically status quo. Our budget year goes from July 1st to June 30th.
Yeah, it's a fiscal year.
It's a fiscal year. So our fiscal year ends June 30th. So we're status quo until June 30th. Well, I have been assured by the board and the CAO that the marijuana program is going to continue. 2 reasons. 1, they have to, because the illegal growers are not going to leave. And 2, if for some reason they do put an ordinance on the ballot and it does get passed, then now we're going to have legalized marijuana again. We still have to have that marijuana team in place. So to dismantle that team and then try and put it back together, it doesn't work.
Well, it's not cost effective.
Well, no, and the issue again is that the illegal growers are not going to just get out and leave. So we're going to still be dealing with those. So it behooves the county to keep that team in place, at least for the time being. I made a comment a while back here, and the Enterprise kind of messed up my comment a little bit. The county collected more tax money this last go-around, and my understanding was it was a substantial amount. I'm not going to quote any amounts because I don't know what exactly they were. It was a substantial amount, and now that money has not been allocated for anything because it came after our budget process for 17-18. Well, we're going to be going into 18-19, so they were going to have those fees available. They need to set some aside so that the marijuana program can continue for the next 3 years so that we can get a handle on this. And we will get a handle on it.
Well, I trust you guys. You seem to be, what we can read in the paper at least.
We've been very active.
You've been active, and I think just from hearsay of, like you say, it's a small county. We all know each other. So I think people are with you in general in the sheriff's department, and they realize that the county board of supervisors sets the rules.
Right.
Unless it's voted by the people, then that's the rules, and these are the rules, and you have to follow the rules.
Well, that's the thing that a lot of people don't seem to understand is I don't make the rules. That's why it's called law enforcement. We enforce the
Enforce
laws
the law.
that you as the voters
Right.
and the board puts in place. That's our job. And we've been very diligent at doing that. We have not taken a back seat to anything. We've always been at the forefront to make sure that the growers were in compliance, the ones that were registered and the ones that were illegal, those were the ones that we were going after. And I mean, you can look at the statistics on how many plants and how many pounds of processed and how many pounds of concentrated that we've seized, the vehicles, the cash.
Yeah.
We've been very busy. I think
The guns.
the guns. Last year, I think we hit a total of 59 sites. And that's busy. And you got to
That's
remember, I have a team of 4 guys.
Right, that's busy.
That's busy. I mean, we did have Operation Terminus, which we had a lot of help, but we hit 19 sites with Operation Terminus. So if you subtract that 19 from the 59, that still leaves 40 sites that my team hit in that. And it's actually a pretty short window if you think about it. Technically, with the weather we had last year, March till October, they were busy doing a lot of search warrants. And it's all search warrants, and that takes time.
That takes time.
Yes, it does.
Well, what else is going on? Anything fun going on?
Always fun. I have a fundraiser coming up.
You in the Irish Day Parade?
I will be at the Irish Days. I don't know if I'll be in the parade. They haven't asked me yet or not, but I typically am.
We'd like to see you. Come on.
I'll be there. I'm always at Irish Days. Campaign plug. I have a fundraiser coming up on the 24th of March up in Ironstone. There's just a lot of events going on right now throughout the county. It's election season, so everybody's out campaigning. There's a lot of events going on. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot of fun.
Go to more volleyball games with your daughter. Avoid election season. I know you can't.
I would love to. I miss watching her play volleyball because she's a darn good volleyball player.
Oh, you're a good dad.
Hey, she picked up a scholarship for University of San Francisco.
Oh, bless her soul.
Yeah.
Good for her.
She's a hard ball
Good for her.
She's a hard. And here's a funny story for you. Do you know that Calaveras High School this year has it's either 22 or 23 valedictorians? And there are 22 or 23 kids that have over a 4.0 average at that high school this year. That's the most they've ever had. Yeah, absolutely. These kids are...
I'm afraid I didn't get that.
Neither did I. And these kids are working hard, and they're academically involved, they're community involved, and they're also, a lot of them are involved in sports.
Excellent.
That tells you the caliber of kids that this county is putting out. It's high. These kids are doing a fantastic job.
Look at you, proud papa.
Oh, heck yeah.
Anyway, Rick, hey, man.
Hey.
Thanks for coming by. It's always good to see you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Jim.
So, we're happy to see you. We've got to run away now. But you know where to find Rick if you need him. If you need the sheriffs at all, just call them. They're always there. They're available. They're there to help you. So please reach out to them if you need some help. And again, just thanks, Rick.
Hey, we work 24/7. Our doors never close.
I go to sleep.
That's right.
My door closes.
Our guys are always working. We're here for you folks.
I know, and we do appreciate it. You know we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do.
I know we do. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you next time on Inside View. Cheers.